Glaucoma, medicine rhododendron. The purpose of knowledge shared here is only educational and to increase awareness. Please always consult your doctor before taking any medicine. Self-treatment may always be injurious. Friends, today we shall know when to use rhododendron in glaucoma. Dose is suggested at the end. दवा की मात्रा और पोटेंसी अंत में बताई गई है। आइए जाने ग्लाकोमा में दवा रोडोडेंड्रॉन कब उपयोगी है। Incipient glaucoma with much pain in and around the eye, periodic in character, and always worse just before a storm, ameliorated after the storm commences. Muscular asthenopia, darting pains through eyes from head, worse before a storm. आइए जाने मेडिसिन रोडोडेंड्रॉन के कुछ अन्य महत्वपूर्ण लक्षण। Sensitiveness to storms and weather changes. Rhododendron is useful in delirium, fever, headache, neuralgias, earache, toothache, rheumatism, and inflammations. The chief determining characteristic is that the symptoms come on or are worse, aggravated on the approach of a storm, during a storm, or in wet weather. Sensitiveness to electric changes. It is suited to nervous persons who dread a storm and are particularly afraid of thunder, worse before the storm, affections which come on in the spring and autumn, and seasons of change. Loss of memory, words are omitted while writing, sudden disappearance of thought, forgets what he is talking about, has to think a while before he can recall it, vertigo and confusion, brain feels as if surrounded by fog. Extraordinarily sensitive to the action of wine. Vertigo occurs whilst lying in bed and is better by moving about. Intense degree of tinnitus aurium associated with the vertigo gives rhododendron a place in menieresdisease. Loud sounds re-echo long in ears. Increased urine with offensive smell, clear brown, red, or of greenish tinge, and whatever color it may be, of offensive smell. Offensive axillary sweat. General sweat is of aromatic odor and not unpleasant. Formication with sweat. Diarrhea, a paralytic condition of the rectum, so that an effort is required to expel a soft stool. Pains in rectum extend to genitals. The scrotum shrinks, testes are retracted, or else they swell, especially at night, and are the seat of a bruised pain, as if they had been crushed violently. These pains are worse by touch, worse when sitting, better by moving about. They may be so violent as to arrest breathing. The menses are too early and too profuse. The menses are always accompanied by fever and headache. Menses reappear soon after they have ceased. Menses restored after 6 months' absence. Amenorrhea. Cysts in the vagina, rupture of an ovarian cyst. chorea of left leg, arm and face, worse on approach of a storm, paralysis of the swallowing muscles, post-diphtheritic paralysis affecting the throat muscles, occurring in a few minutes after drinking tea. The fluid entered the trachea instead of the gullet and caused suffocation. But both sides are affected by rhododendron. Symptoms frequently alternate. Symptoms alternate between left and right nostril. Burning in uterus and pains in limbs alternate. Chilliness and heat alternate. Pains go from within outward. Neuralgia of 3 years duration. Attacks usually on Friday or Saturday and last till Monday or Tuesday, but are induced any time by high winds, damp weather, or an approaching storm. Pain was worse after hard work, worse during any movement, worse in very cold weather, worse from hot applications, intense soreness all over right half of head. Cannot rest on pillow or endure even slightest hairpins when pain is worst. Worse at night, intensely nervous and hysterical at being touched, even by accident. During pain, increased activity of kidneys, seizing when pain ceases. Pain greatest in right lower jaw, sometimes ameliorated for an hour by chewing gum or eating. Afraid of thunder. Omits words when writing. Rhododendron 16 eggs every hour was given. Each dose caused immediate aggravation. Next morning pains stopped suddenly and did not return. Neuralgia, gouty heredity, well during the summer but suffered intensely during winter. Pains general and shifting, sometimes intercostal, sometimes sciatic, in bad weather never absent. Prostrating headache, incapacitating her for schoolwork. While the sun shone, she was comfortable. If it stormed or threatened, she was miserable. If she had a headache on a stormy day and the sun came out, in 10 minutes she was relieved. And it returned at once if snow or rain came on. A cold day, especially if damp, was almost as bad as a storm. Peculiar sensations are brain as if in a fog, scalp as if bruised, as if a worm in ear, as if water rushing into ear, as if throat lined with mucus, as from tension under salt ribs, testicle, as if violently contused or crushed, as if a fist pressed forcibly against the stomach, as if blood ceased to circulate in arms, as if arms asleep, as if feet and legs asleep, as if heavy weights hanging to feet, as of subcutaneous ulceration, undulating sensation arising from abdomen, warm undulations in heart, bruised pains, pains flying about, crawling sensations, one pupil dilated, the other contracted, splenic stitch on walking fast. The incarcerated flatus is felt in the hypochondria and small of the back. Flatus felt in the back. Increased warmth of hands even in cold weather. The symptoms are aggravated by touch, toothache, testicles, chest. This sensitiveness is general. Rest aggravates. Motion, especially commencing motion, ameliorates. Walking causes stitches in spleen. Motion aggravates pain in ears and prosopalgia. Rheumatic pains in soldier on which he rests goes off on turning. Worse when sitting, better rising, worse standing, worse when writing, worse from wind, east wind, rough weather, wet cold weather, getting wet. Worse before a storm, ciliary neuralgia, pains through eye from head, toothache, diarrhea, dysentery, pain in deltoids, paroxysmal chorea, better from warmth, better wrapping up, but heat in bed aggravates formication of anus and toothache. Dry heat ameliorates, worse from change, worse thunder, toothache better whilst and after eating and from warmth. Pain in left side better by eating. Drinking cold water causes pressure at stomach, worse by drinking wines, easily intoxicated. Belching ameliorates, general sweat ameliorates, worse at night, worse morning in bed and on rising. Dose 6, 12, 30 potency, 1 drop in 10 ml water on empty stomach or as advised by your doctor. Thank you.